Chapter 1147, guys, What We're Afraid of, which is a crazy immediate callback to, a couple chapters ago when it was like, I think it said What You're Afraid of, I think is what the chapter was called. So now this one is What We're Afraid of. Here we go. Time to see new Straw Hat nominee, Gunko. Why is Twitter like this? Oh my god, dude. Are we saying Gunko is about to be, joining the Straw Hats? I am so sick of every single new character being introduced, everyone being like, so are they going to join the Straw Hats? Like, bro, like, the Straw Hats are locked in, man. Like, every character we meet is not necessarily going to be a new Straw Hat. We need to calm down on that. Like, people wanting to have freaking Loki, like, he won't even fit on the ship. Like, we can't even put him on the ship. Like, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. Genuinely wouldn't have minded Bonnie, but Gunko is a push. Exactly, bro. Exactly. I think Bonnie would be a solid addition. Conceptually, I like the idea of like Lilith, Vegapunk, but obviously Lilith is going to lock in here on Elbaf. Like, it wouldn't make sense for Vegapunk to actually join the crew because we have Frankie, I do think Ginny would be a viable source. Personally, of course, I wanted Yamato, but I totally understand why Yamato's got to stay in Wano and build up his crew, which is exactly what we're looking at here. Saint Sommer's going to join the Straw Hats? Dude, that'll be the title of the YouTube video. That's what this one is. That's what this YouTube video is going to be. Sommers is joining, or is it Gunko? Like, you like the idea of Bonnie and Kuma joining the Straw Hats to meet up with the Revs. Now, that is perfect. Like, they whip back with them back to, like, Marie Joie whenever this shit pops off. I like that a lot, actually. I won't let them do this. All right, so Robin's ready to pull up and fight Sommers right now. And here comes Mr. Ya himself, Scopper Gabon, to enter the fray. O'Hara just posted a new video about what their clickbait cover is implying. Brooke was a holy knight that abandoned the knights, which you don't even think about when thinking about Brooke last. That came across my mind that he might have been a holy knight, but it doesn't make enough sense of how he got out of there so cleanly. I don't think one can simply stop being a holy knight, right? You mean it fits into what he said about being a soldier for a particular kingdom? I mean, I guess that is a good point, though. Maybe he meant Marie Joie. Maybe. I like the idea more that Saiga was leaning onto, is that he was helping bring some other, like, world noble or something like that to Marie Joie. I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure. We've got Ringed Eyes Robin. Your girl's getting an upgrade. Holy shit, dude. Do you think this is going to tie into Monkey D. Quell's theory of characters in One Piece with ringed eyes have multiple souls within them? You've also seen theories that the Rumbar pirates were taken out by Gunko, which the only proof for that was Brooke recognizing Gunko. That's not a bad point. That's really not a bad point. I can see something like that. Gunko obviously can take down an entire crew by herself just because of how confusing her abilities are. It's not that she's actually physically stronger, but her abilities are really, really tough to counter, and also she has the immortality thing that all these holy knights and above have. So it's crazy. But the first really cool thing I want to point out here is the fact that Saul in this chapter says that he's seen him before. Like, not just holy knights before, but he's seen Sommers before. So obviously, Saul was a vice admiral, so that's not a surprising thing per se, but I do feel like there might be a little bit of a backstory that's worth finding out about, and maybe that's how we'll learn, maybe at least just about, what Sommers has been up to or how he got to this position. There's something interesting there. The next thing that we just have to talk about, guys, 4 Straw Hats, and most importantly, Jinbei being in that crew, got off-screened by one person, dude. By one person. That is diabolical, man. When I was talking, in the last couple chapters leading up to this about how these 4 aren't prepared for this, oh my god, was that true. They are not even remotely prepared for this. Jinbei is completely lost. He's like, man, what are these powers? How the hell do I do this? Of course, her abilities, like we said earlier, are just really, really tricky. So it's not even that she's so physically strong, but it's just how do you combat that? And then also, how do you do something about the immortality thing? We don't know yet. Again, I'm assuming it's going to be basically Advanced Conquerors Hockey or nothing. The next thing, which I had a big feeling was definitely going to happen, and we did, in fact, get this, is her directly just going to Brooke and being like, Brooke, you're the one. I don't know why I didn't think about it, but it does make sense that she immediately is yo, I'm going to make you a slave, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, dude, love that. Also, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first time we've seen her right eye? Have we seen it yet at this point? I just wasn't paying attention to that particular thing. This might just be the first time we saw her eye, which everyone's been oh, it's going to be a big reveal. If anything, I think, she might just have, heterochromia or whatever. I think that's what's going on, because, this one seems more blacked out, and this one has, seemingly, a ring to it. So she might just have, the 2 different color eyes. and I think that's gonna be it. I don't think it's gonna be like, oh my god, there's a Sharingan, down there or anything. But yeah, so a lot of people have been up on this whole Gunko's right eye thing. Seeing it right here, if anything, maybe at best it's like heterochromia, but also it's a small little bit, so like it could make sense that just like the brush strokes made it look a little darker than the other one. What if Gunko's abyss mark is tattooed on her eye? I don't hate that concept. I wonder if there's any stipulations on what or where you can put abyss marks. Like, there's the theory, obviously, that Shanks had one on his left arm, and that's why he let that left arm get, taken out. Like, Jet, I know you're probably only being semi-serious with this, but, like, there could be something to the fact that she gave her eye up for the connection to the abyss. I wouldn't be surprised if these Holy Knights have to give something up to be able to get the abilities that Emu is bestowing on them. Because Emu ain't giving out for free. That's like a fact. So I wonder if it's on some kind of like Emu's like, I'll take your right eye. So then if you F around, you can find out by me just yoinking your eye real quick or just completely and utterly killing you. That would actually be insane. And I do agree, that would look so sick if for some reason that is how they did that. Maybe the weak point to the regen is the abyss mark, like hitting it with Ryuo. Yes, dude, that's a really, really good one too, man. I like that a lot, actually, Jet. Like, the Holy Knight's weak point and what could stop them from having the immortality is by hitting that mark with some kind of like very, very specialized attack. Maybe Conqueror's Ryu or something like that. Yeah, dude, I could low-key see that. Dude. I like that a lot. There is one moment where she kind of like clutches her left arm and she goes like, ugh, which it could be two things. It could be her being disgusted with the answer that Brooke gave her, just being like, F off, I'm going to follow my captain. That's going to be my immediate assumption, but I do see kind of what you're getting at. My only other thought maybe is that Sommers did something to her. Like maybe Sommers poked her with one of the thorns and like that was able to hurt her. So maybe that implies that the Holy Knights can hurt each other. And with Gunko's redirection, a good way for us to be able to fight these Holy Knights would be if we fought 2 to 3 of them at one time, with Gunko being in the field, and us finding a way to make her mistakenly aim her arrows at the Holy Knights themselves, because maybe those abilities can actually hurt them. That's an interesting concept. That's a really, really interesting concept. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's outright confirmed she got hurt here, but it definitely seems like it. Like there is some... she's clutching at something right there on her chest, which also could maybe symbolize that the abyss mark is right around here on her chest. That is a really good point, Menos. I'm super, super interested in that. Ghost, yeah, I'd agree that it's like an alchemist seal. As long as it's intact, it's functional. Exactly, bro, with the seals. Is this Robin's arc to unlock hockey? Alex, I think it might be, bro. I think it might be. Robin genuinely does have a chance to be doing something like that. And that, I don't know, I just genuinely do believe, based on that last chapter, she has something new to bring to the table that we're not prepared for. But yeah, I find it crazy just how direct Sommers is with this announcement. He's like, hey, guys, so we are the Holy Knights, and we have kidnapped your children. Here's the names of all of them so we can make sure the parents are mad. And we're going to start taking them out one by one until you guys burn the entire school and library, which is insane, bro. Like, what a huge ass. Like, yet again, we're right back to Ohara being like, no, get rid of this information from Ohara. Like, they are so stressed on that. And he's pressuring the king, sort of, Ja Rule, which is just not even in a place to be leading like that, I feel like. This is so bad, dude. It's so crazy bad. I don't know. They have so much dominance. And not only that, dude, Dory and Bragi got taken out in this chapter. Dory and Bragi go down, which is absolutely crazy. It's truly hilarious to me that, like, these kids' moms and / dudes' wives are, like, some of the scariest things on, like, on Elbaf right now. This is just genuinely hilarious. And, yeah, this one right here, she looks so much like Big Mom. It's wild. But, like, that's just so savage, man. Like, Oda really, really does have it out for moms, man. Like it's wild. Like, I wonder if, like, I really do wonder if, like, that whole quote that apparently Oda said, which I can't even confirm. If somebody has a confirmation for me, please let me know. But, like, Oda said something along the lines of, like, mothers are the death of adventure. And obviously moms are incredibly absent within this story, or at best we have, like, found family moms, but we don't actually have moms. So that being said, it's just like, I wonder if Oda's mom, like, tried to convince him not to be a mangaka. Like it almost feels like he, like, has, like, some level of resentment to be like, hey, like, look at how, I mean, like, could you imagine his mom's like, I don't really think you should pursue this. You should just be like a salary man or whatever it is, right? And he's like, nah, mom, like, I'm gonna be a mangaka, and he becomes the biggest mangaka of all time. Like, low-key, that's kind of crazy, and I wonder if that's, like, kind of how it's going. This is just full-blown headcanon right now. Based off of that one quote that a content creator told me once, so God knows. You've looked for a source for that quote and yet to find one. See, that's the thing. I can never find sources for that. How do they know Elbaf has Void Sentry info? Because they know something. That's actually a really good question. How is it that they know that? Who let them know that they actually saved all the books of Ohara there? That's a really good point, Alex. I'm not totally sure. From what we can tell context-wise, the Holy Knights just entered, this entire game within, like these last, 20 chapters or so? And they went straight to Loki and then straight to the kids. They shouldn't have, in theory, seen the library just yet, and they shouldn't know that that's a thing. That's a really, really good question. I do love this scene of the kids waking up and kind of all panicking, and Colin's doing his best to be like, oh, dude, I'm a warrior, bro. You don't have to worry about anything. And then he gets terrified, like, within seconds. Just, like, such One Piece, like, vibe. Like that would absolutely just happen. I love it. It's just so perfect. What I was saying is the fact that Dory and Bragi got taken out is absolutely insane. Like, two of the three strongest people on the island that aren't Loki got completely taken out by these monsters. Like, this is a problem, dude. Like, this is really a problem. Elbaf is violently unprepared for this. The giant so-called strength looking a little underwhelming, not gonna lie. I fully agree, Fried. I made a video about this earlier this week. My homie Rob kind of pointed this out. And I mean, look, I got to give them credit where credit's due. Like the first showing of the Giants that we are getting to see is at the absolute highest level of like power scale, save for the Gorosei themselves. But like these Holy Knights are way stronger than the average people that we've been dealing with. So it's kind of like they're not getting a fair go at it because A, they were living a relatively peaceful life, and B, these people just infiltrated and just started doing work, and they're crazy strong. But I feel you. The strength of the Giants is not being shown very well at all. And I think that's the point right now. I think Oda is very much trying to show that with King Harold trying to bring in an era of peace for the Giants, they have in fact turned a new leaf, and he was actually successful in doing that. So like he's really heavily demonstrating the fact that, yeah, the Giants aren't this warring, battling race. That's not what they are anymore. Yes, they had that history, but they've turned a new leaf, and they're more focused on education and like spiritual growth, it seems like. I think there's a lot to be said about that right now, man. And I really think Oda's just like sending that home for us right now. What you can't wait to see is how Oda handles Usopp. You need your boy to get an upgrade he deserves. I agree, man. I actually loved the showing we got of Usopp last chapter. I'm really, really proud of him. I'm a certified Usopp hater, but at the same time, I don't actually hate Usopp. I just want him to reach the potential that has been presented to us. Like, Oda has shown us that he has an insane amount of potential, and I just want to see him do that, especially here on Elbaf. And with last week, dude, he was the second one to throw an attack on a Holy Knight, and arguably, the attack landed and blew Gunko in half. So, like, there's a lot of power behind Usopp's abilities at this point. Like, he does have the potential, and the first thing Usopp did wasn't run away last week, and that's all I care about, bro. Like, make the choice to stand and fight. Granted, he couldn't really run away because he was on a ship flying through the sky, but I was happy to see Usopp really do something. And he sent a couple shots at Gunko. I mean, he got owned, but like, I'm not mad about Gunko or Usopp losing a fight. I just want to see him try, and he tried. I'm really, really happy to see it. So I hope we get a little bit more of that, dude. Like here at Elbaf, Jinbei barely did anything. Dude, Jinbei got off-screened. Like, all four of our Straw Hats got completely off-screen. I will say, Jinbei has done a very important move. He helped put the fire out on Branch 8, which is actually like, it's an understated power play because the Giants are completely failing at defending Elbaf in literally every capacity. So thank God Jinbei was there to actually put that fire out because everything would have been insane. But yeah, dude, these Straw Hats getting off-screened, it's brutal. But, you know, that side of the crew, unfortunately, does not stand a chance on the power scale that we're at. Now, I'm not saying that every Straw Hat needs to become as strong as Zoro and Sanji and Luffy, but, like, we're going to need to get creative with the ways that they can support the crew and everything that's going on because they cannot support it with fighting. They definitely can. You love how they don't want to get Luffy mad? Yes, Menos. So that's another piece I would love to talk about. It is really, really impressive. I don't want to use the word they're scared of Luffy because that's not inherently right. It might be, but it's not inherently right. Obviously, Gunko is scared of Luffy, but I don't see Sommers to be scared. I think he just doesn't want to deal with the problem. But I do love like how heavily he's like, I don't want to fight with one of the four emperors either. Like that's a big statement, dude. Him being like, I am not trying to deal with that. Like that is big respect to the power level that Luffy himself is sitting on. And I think that is just so damn sick, dude. To you, Sommers just sounds lazy and like, let's just get the stupid job done, then we can go the hell home. Honestly, Zen, I think that's actually the most realistic answer to why Sommers is reacting like this. Because when we first saw him, he's like, sitting back in his chair, not even clothed, like, really just not wanting to be there. He's like, why'd you bring my whole room? So yeah, he probably is just like that classic lazy character who's like, yeah, let's do the bare minimum, what we have to do, and get the heck out of here, dude. I like that a lot. Not scared, but they know not to mess with the Yonko. We came a long way for this. That's facts, Menos. That's facts, bro. Like, thinking how far our boy Luffy has come, and now the Holy Knights are like, man, I'm not trying to deal with a Yonko. I love it. Every time they mention Luffy being an emperor, dude, it gives me chills. It makes me so damn happy. Robin has no combat ability besides her DF, TBH, especially if Bonnie goes Gear 5 again. Exactly. I think Bonnie's washing. You love how one thing that can defeat the warriors of Elbaf are angry moms. Dude, yeah, angry moms are soloing everyone on Elbaf right now. That is actually crazy work, bro. That is actually crazy work. To you, Summers just sounds lazy and like, let's just get the stupid job done, then we can go the hell home. Honestly, Zen, I think that's actually the most realistic answer to why Summers is reacting like this. Because when we first saw him, he's like, sitting back in his chair, not even clothed, like, really just not wanting to be there. He's like, why'd you bring my whole room? So yeah, he probably is just like that classic lazy character who's like, yeah, let's do the bare minimum, what we have to do, and get the heck out of here, dude. I like that a lot. Not scared, but they know not to mess with the Yonko. We came a long way for this. That's facts, Menos. That's facts, bro. Like, thinking how far our boy Luffy has come, and now the Holy Knights are like, man, I'm not trying to deal with a Yonko. I love it. Every time they mention Luffy being an emperor, dude, it gives me chills. It makes me so damn happy. Do we think time skip is coming? Nah, I don't think we're gonna get a time skip. I think the only time skip we might get is in the epilogue. When everything's over. I don't love that theory, but if you have any good reasons why you think it might happen, let me know, dude. Triggered. No real reason for thinking but the lesser Straw Hats can't fight crew for crew. Shanks wins right now. Oh, you're absolutely right, Smitty. And I do see what you're saying, where like it feels like we need some more time for the rest of the Straw Hats to catch up. And dude, I'll be honest, I'm just not totally sure if we're gonna get that or not. I think the real thing is we're going to have the strongest players of each of these crew helping to defeat the Holy Knights and then the Elders and then Emu. So it won't necessarily be that the Straw Hat crew is able to solo these people, but with the combined efforts of people like Law being in play, people like Kobe being in play, we still haven't seen Dragon and the Revs really do much. And I mean, call it what you want to call it, Dragon's got to be a powerful guy. There's just no chance he's not going to be, obviously. So I think with all of that, it's not necessarily going to be, sorry guys, that the Straw Hats are going to beat everybody. It's going to be the combined effort of absolutely everyone. So that leaves room for half the Straw Hat crew or more to be weaker and do a lot of things like they did on Wano, like Usopp helping gather like more people like to come to their side and help them fight and stuff like that. They're going to be doing a lot more of like the fodder groundwork, I feel like. Let's go. And guys, anybody new here, we've got a Discord in the bio. We theory craft, and we got a big old community that is definitely figuring out the One Piece in here, dude. I swear. So Zen says, I saw this theory on TikTok. What if Emu's powers are based on drawing out and embodying alternate pasts? Like the opposite of Bonnie's powers based on alternate futures. Oh my god, this is about to be crazy. These are your thoughts on this theory. Brain blast idea. If Emu's powers are based on alternate pasts, then what if the Gorosei and Holy Knight's powers are just alternate parts drawn out by or from Emu? This could explain their regeneration and possible immortality powers. With the at least 3,000 years of time that's passed in the One Piece world, that's a lot of alternate paths to pull from. Like with Bonnie looking forward, I wonder if there's going to be some form of haki or power that can affect time itself, the counter to the regeneration powers, which you think this theory supports the Age of Monsters idea that we've discussed before, since the Gorosei's transformations could just be these extinct monsters that once roamed the land. And Emu has knowledge of these monsters and drew out an alternate past of each monster for the Gorosei's powers. This could also explain Saturn's death. Emu just took back or removed the alternate past affecting Saturn, which killed him as he lost the regeneration powers. Ooh, goodness gracious, dude, there's a lot to unpack there. There is a lot to unpack there. You degenerates. Degenerates, I tell you. Zen, that's a crazy one. So we've definitely theorized a little bit. I posted a video this week that I know you saw, Zen, about how I'm kind of thinking that Emu has the ability to give and take powers. So like if Emu, like say Gunko already had consumed the arrow fruit, and then Emu placed the abyss mark on Gunko, Emu gains the ability to use a bit of Gunko's arrow fruit powers, and Gunko gains a bit of Emu's, abilities, which seem to be regeneration and magical kind of stuff, right? to go on to this, I love the parallel that we have between Bonnie's future and Emu being the past. And obviously, I think it's a big statement to make, that's a pretty easy one to make, that Emu, in fact, is a simple product of the past, or even someone who is stuck living in the past. As much as they want to, quote unquote, change the future so they can own it or whatever, Emu actually is just trying to stay in the past, which in the past, they have held control, and in this moment, Emu is starting to lose control. So I really like the concept of Bonnie's ability to see distant futures, and Emu's stuck, being stuck in the past. I think that's a really cool parallel that seems like something Oda would really like to do in this. And then to your point of like the powers of regeneration, it's like, instead of like them just actually regenerating, whenever they get hit, it's like the power sends them to like a past version of themselves. Dude, there's a lot to that, man. I don't know if I have too much to add to it aside from those little caveats of like what we've been talking about together, like as a community. That is a wild point, dude. That is a super wild point. I like that a lot, dude. Gotcha. Quick theory before you clock in for work. What if Miss Golden Week, Mr. 3's sidekick during the Little Garden arc, was Oda foreshadowing how Emu's powers, or at least how the Abyss pentagrams work? Further, if Dragon can use the same powers as Emu's, assuming Emu's are an upgraded version of Miss Golden Week's, that's how Dragon gets around the world so fast. How was Dragon just at Log Town at the exact right time to save Luffy? He teleported there. Ooh. Okay. I see you. Let me Google exactly Miss Golden Week's powers just so I can give everybody a good explanation. And Colors Trap, her ability. The Colors Trap allows her to draw images and have them manifest into reality, often impacting the emotions and perceptions of others. It's not a devil fruit ability, but rather a skill or like a unique power. That's an interesting concept, dude. I like that connection quite a bit, dude. That's actually wild. The concept that Dragon is teleporting around is actually really, really freaking cool, man. Dragon also has a drawing-like mark on his face, like Golden Week did, so maybe Emu has one of those as well. So maybe that's the thing. Dragon's version of the Abyss the Abyss symbol or whatever it is that tattoo on his face, dude. Low-key cooking. I think that's an interesting connection. I like the idea that Dragon is potentially teleporting around, but honestly, I don't think we have enough to go on it. I'm curious to see where that goes. Theory, if Wano is to Alabasta as Egghead is to Skypiea, Elbaf seems to be Water 7 and he's Lobby. Well, that would imply that we're going to get, all right, let me see what else you have to say. You think the next arc is going to be Thriller Bark-based and finally Saba Odi Marineford, aka the final arcs? In your opinion, this means that the next arc we learn the man with the burn scar is Rocks or Rocks related. I definitely feel at least Rocks related. I don't think he's actually Rocks, but the next arc would go, we learn a former Roger Pirate is the man with the burn scar, is related to the remnants of the Roger Pirates and collecting the troops for the final war. Now that I could see. I do think you have a little bit of weight on that one, my man. We are going to be learning about like the Rocks flashback is coming any day now. With them teasing Rocks in the most recent or the last chapter with Loki and Loki having looked up to Rocks, I think there's a lot to be said on that particular side. What do I think Brook's relation to Gunko is? I don't think he has a direct relation to her. I think simply Brook, or she knows Brook because she likes his music. I do like the concept that Brook obviously has either, I think minimum Brook has been to Marie Joie before. I think that is something that we can pretty solidly say that he's definitely been to Marie Joie at this point. Do I think the rest of the crew will ever catch up, or do I think it's going to focus more on Gear 5? I think the main three are going to be the ones who continue powering up. I think we are going to see more power-ups, but I think it's unrealistic to expect the crew to catch up to what Luffy is doing, because that's not really the point. Like every single person on the crew doesn't have to be the strongest, person in the verse. You know what I'm saying? And I think we're actually going to start seeing that when we see more of Shanks's crew. I think we might actually be overestimating the strength that Shanks's crew has. Not to say that they're not all lit. Don't get me wrong, but I do think that that every person on the crew has a role to play, and that role isn't always straight fighting and winning. So I think they're gonna find ways for they're gonna do a lot of support things. So like when we go back to Marie Joie and everything starts kicking off, I think they will be helping the lower tier revolutionaries do their revolutionary thing, while the monster trio are up there fighting the real fights. Let me make sure I'm at the beginning of Twisted's part of this. I am. All right, so for reference, we've got the zombie lady reference, and then an image of Ginny as a full-grown person. Here, Usopp refers to Gunko as Zombie Lady, not surprising since she regened after he blew her up. However, Oda loves to sneak little hints like this in at the true nature of things. You suspect that Gunko is really a sort of zombie, someone who has died and been reanimated into something else. That person was Ginny, which Zen has been cooking heavy on this theory, and we've been talking about this as well. Just like Zen has been cooking with Gunko actually being like Ginny in some capacity, the zombie side of it actually makes me a little happier for this theory. I do like that part of it a lot more. It makes more sense. I just didn't like Ginny just, turning sides or whatever. Oda loves to sneak little hints in like this, and then that person was Ginny. At this point, most are aware that Gunko's outfit is only really seen with the Revolutionary Army, leading some to believe that she has or she at least was a former Rev gone traitor. Too simple. To further this thought, the Gods Knights and the Revs have a clear connection, highlighted by Dragon when he mentioned they would make their move once the Gods Knights mobilized, taking his sweet time. Facts. I love the images you included here, Twisted. You're killing this, bro. If that isn't enough to convince you, you might have forgotten where Ginny was and where she got her mysterious sapphire scale disease. She was with the Gorosei Gods Knights. I do like the theory that Ginny potentially was, married, like one of Shamrock's many wives. Or Ginny was apparently the 10th wife of someone like high up in Marijois. Not only that, but we clearly, at the tail end of Kuma and Bonnie's part in the story on Elbaf, at the beginning of the Revolutionary Gods Knights, the timing is perfect. Right here. Last but not least, Gunko has a clear affinity towards Brooke, masked by her callous nature. Why, might you ask? Because Brooke is just like her. Someone who has died and come back to life. Someone from a vanity standpoint appears to be evil in the form of a living skeleton. Skeletal Riz, that's so funny. I love that, bro. And someone who makes music, which both Ginny and Gunko are pictured wearing what at least looks like headphones. So this is the photo I think that you're referencing with the headphones look. And honestly, dog, you're not wrong about that at all. Like, that is a really good point. We do have some headphones on her right here. Okay, bro, I see you. She's fond of him and his music, and that is why she kicked Brooke in the recent chapter. It hurt her. Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly. It is unlikely a coincidence that Gunko clutched her chest in pain right after kicking Brooke. And what do you know? It's a shared panel with Sommers, who has the power of the Thorn Fruit, which harms those who come in contact with people they have feelings for. Ooh, that's the connection I needed, bro. I was bringing that up earlier in the stream, and that is the connection I needed with that, because I was saying that potentially it was Sommers who hurt her, which then leads us into the fact of maybe the Holy Knights are in fact able to hurt each other, which is what their weakness is going to be. We could potentially use Gunko's attack direction abilities to accidentally hurt the other Gods Knights. That's crazy, dude. I like that a lot. Does Ginny have some features on the lower side of her face, hence Oda covering it? Let's see. Nothing that I can see outright. It seems very normal. And we did get to see Gunko's eye for what I think is the first time in this most recent chapter, right here in this, or actually in the panel before this. So, and it didn't seem to be like anything impressive. It doesn't seem like it's hiding anything. So, I'm not sure there. But Twisted's got a little bit more. Let's keep going. Not to mention, Gunko has two different eyes, just like Cavendish, which you think represents a shared vassal or a corrupted vassal. I could see that. And this theme of separation between vassal and spirit is already depicted in the mural. Your earlier predictions of this energy source actually being spirit with a clear exchange of sacrifice of life, and the stars in the sky being depicted in the same way. Stars are commonly represented as spirits. I do like that. Another possible parallel is between Imu's ability to raise the dead and Moria's and Blackbeard's wanting to rule the world and Imu currently ruling it. Remember, in Marineford, the higher powers ordered Dofi to kill Moria. Now Moria is lost in the ranks of Yonko DF power snatching crew and Blackbeard pirates, or he may join them in mutual interest agreement, something BB does with his crewmates. I could see that for sure. There is a reason they wanted Moria to die. Like, it's not so simple. Sapphire scale disease and it killing Jenny is interesting how the disease actually works. Worsening with sun exposure. All right, so what if you get what if to become a Holy Knight, you are given the Sapphire scale disease, which makes you an enemy of the sun, because the Holy Knights themselves are inherently enemies of the sun. Quite obviously, they're going against the sun god. There could be something to that. The Sun and Sapphire Rain, aka Emu. I see those parallels, dude. I do see those parallels. There could be something to that. Maybe all of the Holy Knights are dead. Literally, maybe all of them must die to become this Holy Knight. And so are the Elder, like the Gorosei and all of that. And if anything, that's at least why the Gorosei do not seem to age. The Gorosei are actually dead. So there is no more growth for them to have. That's actually crazy. Twisted, you're absolutely cooking, bro. I do like that every single one of the kids has their own little personality here. That was just like a cool thing to be shown. So they give us this whole panel of them explaining what every single kid feels about this whole situation, right? Different levels of fear or apathy or whatever it may be. This one girl with the headphones on kind of looks like a Tontada. I'm just going to keep saying that. She might be like a Dosendata. But that's a separate theory for right now. This girl, I pointed her out in the very first panel we got of these kids marching away down the branch. She has horns. And we get the confirmation in this panel that she doesn't have parents because her parents were probably ancient giants and died off in some kind of battle or war or something like that. So as much as I've been loving focusing on Colin and his importance to the story and more important of being stolen and captured, she has ancient giant blood in her, which means she's going to be even more highly sought after as far as what her genetic ability is. So I think this girl, Johanna, is actually going to become a lot more important than we might think because she obviously has some ancient giant in her and her parents are gone. Wonder what's up with her parents? What if her parents are like Ors Jr. or something like that? What if she has a direct connection to Ors? That would be insane, dude. That would be insane. That's why they want the Giants for their power and bloodline. Exactly, dude. So I think that girl would be the most optimal kid to actually successfully steal from the Giants. As always, dude, Oda is cooking us a feast. I think since we have a little chapter break here, that also means that next week's chapter, or in 2 weeks chapter, is going to be massively epic, dude. Huge things coming. Obviously, Robin going devil form for the first time since Wano, and then Scopper Gabon entering the fray, man. Crew, if you made it this far in the video, I appreciate that endlessly. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell to make sure you know anytime I upload a video. These videos drop weekly with each chapter that we drop. If you would like a full uncut version of this live stream, that is going to be available on my Patreon below. We've also got a Discord down there where we do this theory crafting section that you could see me pull up during this video. And lastly, of course, we do live streams for these chapter reactions every Sunday starting at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would love to see you guys there. Tell the people you love them, touch some grass, drink some water, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.